Well, we have that right here, right now, today, as we welcome you to the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, round 16, the season finale, the championship decider. And we couldn't be more excited here on your home of motorsport. Hi again, folks. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, ready to go on championship day. Both of these guys have won championships in respective categories. You know what it's like, and it's all to play for today. We're putting the focal point on the top two in points, obviously because of the closest margin. Juan Pablo Montoya, Graham Rahal. Townsend Bell, you're Montoya. How do you race this race today?
I've got a 34-point lead, and I have that for a reason. For what I've done all season. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to do what I've done all year. I've been in this situation before. I've won huge races around the world, but I do have to get through the first corner cleanly, and I'm starting next to my championship rival. So protect the car. I drive for the most successful team in IndyCar racing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
PT, you were known for your aggressive/forceful style. You're Graham Rahal. How do you race it today?
Well, I think everybody knows what I would do, and what we've seen from Graham is a resurged Graham Rahal. He's driving at a level that's just much higher than he's ever driven. He's been super aggressive all year, and I think that's exactly what he has to do. He has to go out there, take the bull by the horns, get in the lead as soon as he can, and try to win this race if he's going to win the championship.
Real quick, who's the wild card?
Let's assume for a second Will Power walks away today, and our championship rivals have an issue, which is possible. Look for Scott Dixon to be unmentioned for most of the day, come home second, and end up winning the championship.
Paul?
I'm not looking at another championship winner, but I think right now the guy who's looked really good over the last 3 races and looks really good this weekend is Hunter-Reay.
Hunter-Reay, and don't discount Joseph Newgarden either, the young American starting on the front row. It's all to play for today. Let's get things going.
Just breathe. 1 second. Green flags.
Are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome representatives from Lakeville Volunteer Fire Department.
Drivers, start your engines!
Go, championship on the line. Of course, Juan Montoya, championship leader here on row 3, and right alongside, yes, his closest championship contender, Graham Rahal. Graham is in this position because he has forced his car in sometimes this year where there hasn't been room. Will there be an issue in the first couple of corners? Let's get to Kevin Lee.
Jan, at the top of turn 2 from the apex, and this track, Sonoma, features the greatest elevation change that we have. So it's about 12 stories from down there in turn 1 up to the top here in turn 2. As you mentioned, 2 of the championship contenders starting together. So keep in mind, while Montoya has the inside in turn 1, if Rahal can stay easy in 2, he has the preferred inside line, and there's been carnage here in 3 of the last 6 years, including the last 2. So it's possible we have a major swing in the championship before we even get through the second turn.
Kevo, great point. It is a real hot spot, that turn 2, as they climb the hill. Scenes of last year right there. What will we see this year? Well, as the cars roll, let's take a closer look at this Sonoma Raceway track. T-Bell, talk us round.
One of the best racetracks here in North America, and it just ribbons through these beautiful California hills, but it demands technique and it demands finesse. And you can see the cars going there through turn 2. A little bit of off camber there, and it's blind, but we're right in the middle of wine country here, Sonoma, California, and it all starts in turn 1, a wide open, flat corner, but then it goes uphill, and it generates huge compression on the car as you brake for turn 2, and then it's blind as you're trying to find the apex for turn 2 and lay the power down for a very smooth exit. Not a lot of natural grip in the asphalt here at Sonoma. It goes all the way around down to turn 7. That's where a great passing opportunity will exist today. If you can duck up the inside, outbrake someone, or maybe consider the over-under where you start outside and exit to the inside. You can get a run up through those S's, and you skip the traditional NASCAR part. You go through that IndyCar chicane, and it leads you down to the final turn, turn 11, a right-hand hairpin, pretty wide through there. It can get a little ugly sometimes on restarts, but that takes you back to start-finish. Beautiful racetrack and a beautiful weekend here in Sonoma.
The task for today is 85 laps. Let's take a look at how they'll line up with the Mother's Polish starting grid. And we told you it's a Power Newgarden front row for Will Power. He dominates qualifying this year, gets that bonus point, and gives himself the best possible chance to win this championship.
And Power is just looking to have a good time today and do what he does best, which is keep his head down and run away from the field. Great run for Marco Andretti, former winner here, as we go further back to row 7. And Elio Castroneves, not a great qualifying performance, Paul.
No, Bourdais had a good warm-up session. Look at Oriol Servia. He's the guy who's going to take the spot for Justin Wilson and do this final race. Jack Hawksworth had an oil leak at the back of the field, so he's really had a tough year.
As always, with every Verizon IndyCar Series race, we rely heavily on our onboards. We want to say thanks to Lucas Oil for bringing us Ryan Briscoe's view here. His last race for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports aboard the 5, filling in for the injured James Hinchcliffe. NTT data gives us this view for TK. Tony Kanaan aboard the 10 for Chip Ganassi's team. And his teammate is Scott Dixon, who carried.
Everybody wants to know, they've asked me a million times, what would you do if you were Graham? We want to know what you're going to do at the start. Are you going for it?
I don't see Montoya racing me too hard, so sticking my line and hopefully it works out. But all in all, proud of this Steak and Shake team for everything they've done all season.
All right, Graham, good luck today and good luck for winning this championship.
Copy.
He's never been this high in his IndyCar career. It's all to play for. Talking with his famous father, Bobby, yesterday, he said, Lee, Graham said to me, I've come too far. I'm too close not to win this championship. I am going to do everything in my power to win it today. As they pack up, they grid up. We're ready to go racing for the final time in honor of the late Justin Wilson. It's the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. It's the championship decider. It's time to bring the action. Will Power, look at Hunter-Reay on the inside of Newgarden. He goes for it. Rahal sweeps around the outside. They climb the hill into this turn, this tricky turn 2, and everybody through cleanly.
And what a great start for Juan Pablo Montoya. He's in 4th. Somebody's looking up the inside there. That's Kimball, but Montoya makes it through clean. That is huge for his championship hopes.
Look at Rahal on the inside, trying to get through. Rahal sideways. He gets hit by Andretti. It's a rough and tumble through turn 4, but he gathers it up. Andretti's through.
Possibility he might have got tire damage. He's got swarmed by everybody. That was a real early start by Will Power. Probably caught Graham off guard, and he just got swallowed up by 4 or 5 cars.
He was in the thick of it with Dixon and Kanaan. Here he goes up to turn 7 to make a move on Andretti, on Marco, and does it. It's a good inside move, and he pulls it off.
I don't know about that. Marco was hanging tough on the outside, but ran out of road.
It was contact early on, too, with the 22 of Simon Pagenaud. Let's get to Jan.
And you're talking about Graham Rahal getting swallowed up. He decided, the only car I saw other than Tony Kanaan, to start not on new red sidewalled Firestone alternates, but scrubbed. So the other cars had more grip there the first couple corners. He wants to save his best tires for the end of the race.
Guys, I can't emphasize how huge that start was for Montoya. His greatest risk was an issue on the opening lap, and he just navigated it brilliantly. On board now with Graham, and Montoya's next to him.
And Hunter-Reay, Paul, got a great start ahead of Montoya. That opened things up for Juan.
See Charlie Kimball slid up the outside there. Look at this on the outside of Pagenaud. So a really aggressive. Oh, look at that, banging wheels with Dixon. So that's look at that.
And then Kanaan lined up for a shot. He was through on the inside. Just up ahead of Graham through this turn was where there was contact with Pagenaud, and Marco Andretti is about to come flying through on the inside of Graham Rahal and muscle his way through. There he goes.
And guys, the benefit of being a multi-car team, if you're Graham Rahal, you have nobody to help here. As we see out the back, I believe, of Charlie Kimball, there's Graham and Dixon next to each other. You're going to see light wheel-wheel contact. Little rubbity rub, no big deal.
Quick look over.
Graham's got nobody to help him. Pagenaud was able to act as a buffer for Montoya, and that's a huge difference.
We had a meeting with Brian Barnhart yesterday, and he said he was going to tell these guys to not get involved with the championship leaders, and he was banged off of 4 or 5 different cars.
I think they missed the not part.
Yeah. However, most of them were championship contenders. So it's Will Power who's leading the way by about 1.5 seconds over Joseph Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Then the championship leader, Juan Pablo Montoya. Then Dixon, Kimball, Pagenaud. Then we get back to Kanaan and Rahal, Andretti in the top 10.
This is exactly where Power is so comfortable. When he can sit out front, control the pace, do his fuel mileage. But look at Joseph Newgarden. This is a guy who really wants to end his season strong. He's in the free market. He's a free agent and needs a good result here, another win, and that could really put him in the captain seat for next year.
And Paul, with all these guys on red tires to start, it's only going to be 3 or 4 laps before we start to understand what does tire degradation look like, not just in terms of pace, but balance. Can they maintain the balance of these cars as the tires wear?
I'll tell you one thing, the guy with the most experience with a car with tire degradation is Juan Pablo Montoya. When you run a cup car around here, the tires fall off so fast, and he's got a lot of experience around this track, more than anybody else. So really, now that he's displaced the Graham, he's really in a good position.
Remember that Montoya is a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race winner here at Sonoma Raceway, and already Team Penske laid out for one of its cars. It might be Helio Castroneves. It's certainly not Montoya. Marty Snyder's there.
And he said that he has a nose issue, might be nose damage. And you hear Roger Penske saying they're going to put tires on and take a wing on. This obviously will very much hurt Helio Castroneves' chance at the championship, which was only mathematical in nature coming into the race. You see him coming to pit road. They're going to put tires on here, put a new nose on the car. Helio qualified 15th yesterday. He was very disappointed in that fact and knew that was hurt his shot as a championship. And you can see the damage. You guys have circled it there. Helio coming down pit road to get that nose change and get new tires on here very early in the race. He cannot catch a break this season. It seems his team has had speed. They just don't have the finishes, and there's that damage on the left front of that wing on Helio Castroneves' car. The new wing going on, the new tires going on as well, and clearly losing a ton of time here on pit road while everybody else is green out on the racetrack.
And Marty, not huge damage to the left front end fence, but that gives you some understanding of how aero-sensitive the cars are here and why it's so hard to pass in traffic. I mean, that was just a little horizontal flap on the left front end fence.
Yeah, you can certainly deal with that on a street course, but not with how fast this track is. No way.
His teammate Will Power has led every lap thus far early on and seems to be getting into a nice rhythm. Spread out. There's no immediate challenges here. We pick up that red and black car right there, Graham Rahal, second in the championship. Then we go back and you see the yellow and red car. That's Sebastian Saavedra returning to the 8. The AFS Racing for Chip Ganassi Racing entry. And he's doing a nice job as he pushes his way through just outside the top 10. Incidentally, before Helio was forced to come to the pits, he'd made up 3 positions, so frustration there. Here is Sebastian Bourdais, one of our race winners this year, put on an absolute clinic at Milwaukee, and he heads to his respective pit box.
And Sebastian Bourdais was so frustrated after qualifying. He thought he had a lap that would qualify him to the next group. And wouldn't you know that his teammate was exiting the pits at the exact time that he was trying to put his fastest lap. Sebastian Bourdais obviously is an emotional driver, but I have never seen him that upset. Now they go for early strategy just in case. When you don't qualify well, you take a risk.
Gets out into some clean space in the hydroxy cut machine. Bourdais will see what the Frenchman can come up with today. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Steak and Shake, home of the original steak burger and proud sponsor of the number 15 and Graham Rahal.
We take out fingers and lay clouds.
Ansky's won. Pablo Montoya, he is one cool dude, and he is an incredible race car driver. He has had a career that many can only dream of. He's driven for teams that drivers could only dream of. And here he is on the verge. He got through that anxious opening sequence of turns cleanly. He sits in a very strong fourth position, and he now sits on the verge of his second IndyCar title. There's still a lot of work to be done here today, but how about this? Points leaders for an entire IndyCar season since 1956. Not many, are they? Not many at all. And JPM has led every step of the way.
We talked about balance earlier. It looks to already be kind of a handful, Paul, for most of these guys. We're talking laps that are 4 to 5 seconds off of qualifying pace as tire degradation is already coming into play.
Yeah, certainly, that's the key to keeping the tires under the cars, not pushing them too hard. And we know that Will Power is a master at making fuel mileage and making good lap time. But right now he's got to concentrate on fuel and saving tires.
So as we race lap 9 of 85, it is a grind. It's warm here today. This is going to be a tough slog. And so far, it has been very routine. A little bit of a scramble at the start, but for the likes of Scott Dixon, who has effectively made up 4 positions from his starting spot of 9th to 5th. Good job so far early on. And if you just want to hear how busy they are around this 2.385 mile circuit, Sonoma Raceway, take a listen to this. Into the carousel. Firestone telemetry giving us an interesting look there at Scott Dixon. All right, we're going to do this throughout the course of the day. We will continually update the points for you as they run. And at the moment, Will Power would be in second position. Montoya still with a comfortable lead. Remember, double points today is the big talking point as Carlos Munoz brings his Andretti Honda to pit road, and Jan's there.
And this is still more strategy play. This will turn into a 4-stop unless there was a projected yellow later on. These are all cars like Carlos Munoz with a 7.6 second stop. They stop now, hoping that there will be a caution. All right, that Ziggy Hark is telling them to stand on the outlap. They want yellow now before the leaders pit. That's the way the strategy plays.
And Paul Townsend, as we see a close call there with Takuma Sato as a driver, I imagine you want to just keep throwing tires at it, keep filling it up and go as hard as you can as opposed to running to a fuel number.
Well, this is not what he wants coming out of the pits and have to get stuck behind a car on older tires. He needs to make the lap times right now. So he's got to make quick work of Sato if he's going to really benefit from these tires, Townsend.
Yeah, for sure. But back up front, Will Power continues to just manage the pace. Things have sort of leveled off, stabilized a bit. This about 120.5 second pace is what you're seeing from all the leaders right now. And critically, what they need to do is get a read on their car over the full fuel stint so that their crew can make any key adjustments to tire pressure or anything else, maybe with front wing on pit lane when they come to their first stop.
Joseph Newgarden sits in a very prominent position in second on a very important day for him to finish the championship, Marty, in a really nice spot.
Yeah,
It's been a great season for Joseph Newgarden, and Will Power would love to finish second in the championship standings. Those two up front, you know, Will Power told me this morning, my favorite session of the weekend by far, that last qualifying session where he was very aggressive, able to attack the track, 3 one-lap runs. That's how he was able to put it on the pole position. But he told me today is a different game. We have to protect points. We have to stay out front. I have to do all I can to win a championship. As we saw a moment ago, he's still second in the championship. So a lot to gain for Will Power today, who's very much just managing the gap back to Joseph Newgarden. Every time Newgarden gets a little closer, Newgarden with a little bit of understeer in his car, Power can pull away when he wants to. So right now, PT, you're right, saving fuel all he can and maintaining that gap between he and Newgarden.
That gap is getting tighter, Townsend. He's as close as he's ever been, and also Hunter-Reay is closed in as well. So maybe a little bit of tire issues going on with Power.
Yeah, well, it's really not a whole lot of incentive at this phase for Power to try to stretch out a massive lead. If the yellow comes out, it's going to stack back up anyway, so he just wants to protect the lead, maintain the gap.
What's at play? There's a championship at stake, and Will Power can defend his title. He can win, but he's got to stay where he is. He's got to win this race, maximum points, and hope for a little adversity for his teammate, Juan Pablo Montoya. Hey, you can watch TBCSports.com on mobile and tablets with NBC Sports Live Extra. You won't miss a minute. The world-famous Fisherman's Wharf, San Francisco, about an hour south of here as we welcome you back to Sonoma Raceway. Scott Dixon has just pitted. Third in the championship chase. He made up good positions at the start. He's gone from those red, softer compound Firestone tyres to the blacks. And back at it, back at work. We understand the race leader is on pit road. Here we go, top two, Power and Newgarden. Racing lap 14, about to complete lap 14. Newgarden has done a nice job sticking with power. Marty?
And Lee, you can see how much this tire degradation is really playing with all these teams. You can see both of these cars coming down pit road, first and second place. So both put on primary sticker tires for both of these cars. This will put everybody in a 4-stop strategy for the rest of the day. They'll have to stop 3 more times, and Will Power stalls it, leaving pit road. Oh, and now Newgarden trying to lead. And Simon Pagenaud trying to pull into his pit. That affected Will Power and Joseph Newgarden. And Graham is behind as well. Let's see where all this cycles out, guys.
What happened to Pagenaud there?
Well, Pagenaud was trying to come in right as Newgarden was leaving, and now Newgarden elected on his own to drive over the air hose on pit lane. So going to need a lot of replay there to figure out exactly what happened and if anything needs to happen from race control.
He really had no option because it was either run over the front wheel of Simon or just go
sit
through
there.
the pit box, you know?
Check this out. Joseph Newgarden, second car in shot, but look to the left. Here comes Simon Pagenaud.
He was waiting on his teammate to go, and that blocked Newgarden. So he waited for Will Power to go, which effectively blocked Newgarden into his pit lane.
Good call, Paul.
However, PT, he would not have known that Newgarden was coming out at him. He would have been unsighted, don't you think?
I think he would have seen him there as Montoya comes to pit lane.
It's an easy in for Montoya, and it also helps because Ryan Briscoe pitted in the last lap, so it's an easy out. It's an air pressure adjustment up the on.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay, now you'll see at the top of the screen, this is lap 16. You'll see that Montoya is leaving. We'll see if Ryan Hunter-Reay can out-drag him, and he does pick up that position. Now, in my mind, this could still be a 2-stopper, 2 more stops for these cars that made it to lap 16.
Go.
You'll have to save some fuel, but they're just on the inside of the window.
Oh, Canaan and Bourdais going at it. Tony thought about doing a big inside move and couldn't quite get close enough to the hydroxy cut machine. So, interesting play on pit road.
Well, definitely team tactics are being used for 100% because Simon effectively stopped in the pit lane to let his teammate out, and he would have been told on the radio to do so.
Absolutely, and he would have known that Newgarden was there. It's clear that Simon Pagenaud's role in this is make sure that Will Power and Montoya have every opportunity to win the race and the championship.
New tires versus old tires here. You can see Canaan is all over the back of Bourdais, looking for a way by.
I got to think. I'm just trying to think here, Paul. In my career, I've never seen anybody stop on pit lane.
Neither have I.
Unless there was an incident.
There's a lot of radio communication going on in that between those 4 cars on that Team Penske. So that was a first for me. I've never seen anybody come to a complete stop to wait for their teammate to leave either.
Charlie Kimball serviced and sent in the Novolog Flex Pen car. For Chip Ganassi Racing, here's Canaan. He has grown too impatient with Bourdais. They go wheel to wheel through turn 1 and up to 2. Nice move.
Reds against blacks there. New reds versus old blacks. And you can see the grip level. He just drove by him up the hill.
Riding with Graham Rahal in the Steak and Shake Honda. He's the next one to add Bourdais to his list.
Marco Andretti currently shown as your leader. Now he's circulating at about 1:22. Paul, that's almost 6 seconds off qualifying pace, so it really gives you a feel for the challenge of managing the tires on full fuel around Sonoma.
Just shows you how far away that Tony Kanaan has been able to gap Bourdais. Rahal needs to get it done quickly and efficiently.
A little too far back there, but he's definitely in a hurry to get by Bourdais. He needs to stay in touch with Canaan.
Pitted 10 laps after Bourdais did Graham Rahal. Kev?
Here's Michaela Lotion into the pit stall. It's the first crash on the oval at Fontana last year. Significant injuries. Took him several months to recover. He said he's been working all year to get back to IndyCar. He's hoping this can jumpstart a ride for next year. He's been faster in all 3 sessions and qualifying than his 2 Schmidt-Peterson Motorsport teammates. Really impressive drive so far this weekend for Lotion.
He did a good job here last year as well with a 7th place finish. Has been doing some sports car racing this year after he rehabbed effectively after that big crash in Fontana. As we get back to it, here we go. Top 2 guys in the race waiting for them to pit for the first time in this 85-lap Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Andretti and Sebastian Saavedra. Of course, this is a special place for Marco, where he brought up his first career IndyCar victory and would dearly like to finish the season on a high. He's 12.5 seconds up the road on Will Power, who was leading at the time when he pitted on lap 14. And another lap goes by. No diving to the pits this time.
3 more laps, 3 more laps. Let's keep doing this.
Hear the voice of Marco's father, Michael Andretti, coaching him. And how about this guy, Sebastian Saavedra? What a great part-time year he's had. Really so much improvement year over year with him. Currently running second with the Ganassi team, so we know the car's fast around here. He's done a very nice job today.
All right, guys, I know you won't be surprised by this. The incident on pit lane involving the 1 of Will Power, the 22 of Simon Pagenaud, and the 67 of Joseph Newgarden under review from race control.
Who do you penalize?
Well, I don't know that the rule book even addresses it. You can be penalized for going too fast.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure there's a penalty for going too slow.
Who do you penalize? Do you penalize?
I think Pagenaud.
Pagenaud for being polite and
no, I don't
courteous,
think that's being. I don't think that's being polite.
Or was there a team? If they can hear a radio transmission that says stop, that could be an issue.
Marty?
And I also don't think we should be surprised that after all of that, there's a little front wing damage. Not too bad on Joseph Newgarden's car. I did talk to Sarah Fisher. She said it's bad enough, though, that eventually she's worried that the wing will start damaging itself. So they brought a new wing out here in case Joseph does happen to have a bigger issue with that front wing. And they've told him on the radio, just do your best to maintain with Will right now. And for reference, there you see the new wing getting ready to go on if they do have to need that new wing. And for reference, of the guys who pitted at lap 14, Will Power and Joseph Newgarden still 1-2, so it may not hurt them that much here on pit road.
Hey, Marty, when you were talking with Sarah Fisher, did she share her opinion of the incident?
She did not share her opinion of the incident. And by the way, I did talk to Kyle Moyer, and I asked him, did anyone tell Simon Pagenaud to stop on pit road? He said no. Simon did that on his own. He stopped on pit road and let Will Power go.
Well, the issue is not so much that he stopped to let his teammate go, but he stopped at the expense of Joseph Newgarden. So, not quite sure how they'll deal with that, but they're looking at it.
One of the earliest cars to stop in this race was a man trying to make his way from 15th, Elio Castro Neves. He's back in again.
Fighting that uphill battle all afternoon long, Lee. We see the new tires going on for Elio Castro Neves, who's been mired back in traffic. Remember, they took a wing very early in this race after some damage at the initial start of the race. And Saavedra is a new leader. How about that?
Sebastian Saavedra gets the lead away from Marco Andretti. However, both of these cars are losing massive time to the chasing pack. And still another lap goes by where they choose not to pit for tires.
This is great stuff for Saavedra to get an opportunity at the end of the year to run like he's running now, to lead a couple laps. That's a confidence builder. So this is it's a good opportunity for him.
That's great. It's huge for Californian Gary Peterson and AFS, who supported Saavedra for the last several years. They've maintained their faith, and he's rewarding them with a great performance here, passing one of the top drivers in the series and pulling away. But Paul, the lap times do continue to slow down. That last lap from Andretti, a 1:23 and a 22.3 from Saavedra. So I'm watching to see how far these guys can go on fuel, because they're going to run these things out of fuel before they run out the tires.
He pulled away from Marco like he's standing still. So obviously that last lap with the pass might have slowed them down, but they've been running in the 21s, about a second and a half off of what the leaders are doing. But this is that was a good pass.
You could see, if you were noticing there on the roll hoop, you could see the green PP flashing, which means push to pass.
One more lap.
And that meant that Saavedra was on the button. Kind of fun now, because if you're trying to defend, you can look over at the roll hoop with the guy trying to get by and find out what he's doing.
Look at the distance. Look at the distance he put on him in one lap.
You heard the radio call, one more lap, one more lap. Now that may have been Michael to Marco Andretti. It may have been some communication.
Use overtake.
To Sebastian Saavedra.
Why he's encouraging her overtake right there. Obviously, this is critical on your in-lap to maintain pace, as Oriol Servia pits from third.
Good work, and considering the weekend started out for Oriol Servia, who will openly tell you, I've not been to the gym since I raced Indianapolis, and I was taken aback by the forceful nature of these cars and how difficult it is to steer. He's doing a really nice job.
He is, Lee, and of course they changed the car because he did on day one said, I physically cannot turn the car in the carousel. They changed the steering rack. That was just over a 9-second stop for him. A larger steering wheel, changed the steering rack, changed the caster, which is affects the steering effort, and now he says, okay, I'm good for the distance, but as you can see, these cars are streaming by. He's not quite in the sequence he'd like to be in.
Came out just ahead of, looked like Tristan Vautier there, as he gets back up to speed. So good work, Oriol Servia. Terrific to be calling your name back in the series and driving in the honor of Justin Wilson. Here's Sebastian Saavedra pitting from the lead. So what a run that was, making up 9 positions from his starting spot. Marco Andretti follows him into the lane as well. And let's hope for a good, clean, smooth stop.
And Saavedra just a couple of stalls in front of Marco. Andretti hits his spot. What these two have done, while they have been losing time on the track, if it stays green, they could make it on 2 more stops, while those that came in much earlier are going to have to take an extra one.
Nice work. They can do it on 1 less stop. Perfect. Back to Will Power, our pole sitter. And now back in the top spot. You think about when the number 1 machine, the Verizon Chevrolet, pitted at lap 14, and you see the likes of Saavedra and Andretti stretching it to 22. This is going to be an interesting one strategically towards the end.
Came from nothing, I was hungry, yo.
He's Indycar's Iceman, and he is a cool operator. Scott Dixon, 3-time series champ, winner here at Sonoma Raceway. What can the Kiwi do here today on Championship Day? At the moment, he runs 3rd, and he would be 3rd in the championship positions as they run. Montoya, in case you're wondering, would still have enough positions as they run, but still a lot of work to do as we just click over to race lap 26 of 85. Now we also put the attention on Graham Rahal, the man second in the championship coming into today. He runs 7th at the moment. He's just under 10 seconds behind race leader Will Power. We want to let you in on some radio just occurred.
The problem is my car is so loose that when I try to follow close, it's killing me. At this point, he's got to keep those tires underneath us.
Well, like you said, he's in the turbulence of the cars in front. He's dropped back from Kanaan just to get some clean air. He's loose. He's degrading the rear tires, which means the rear of the car is sliding. It's not putting power down, so he's just hanging back a little bit. Hopefully they can make some adjustments on the next stop with air pressure or maybe take some front wing out.
Driving for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Let's hear from the first L in that team combo. Here is Mr. David Letterman.
And you're right, Letterman's in the house, and I know right now the positions aren't what you want, but how are the championship nerves going, David?
Well, you know, I want him to win the race. I want him to win the championship. It's been a tremendous year. You know, in racing, you're not going to run the table, but I don't know what more you could ask of this kid. And let's just say it doesn't come out the way it feels like it's going to come out. We still win because we have a tremendous amount of momentum for next year. So I don't see us losing anything here today, but I'm looking for a double.
And this team has been so impressive. Certainly it's not lost on you. You're a single car effort, and you've been taking it to guys like Penske and Ganassi. Must make you proud.
Yeah, well, it's Graham, and he's one of those guys now. You know, there a long time when there were 3 teams, and now he's right up there with them. And what I love about the kid and how he drives, he'll hunt you down and get you, and it's so exciting.
All right, well, we'll enjoy some more hunting today. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
You could not get a better endorsement.
Looks like he's auditioning for Castaway 2.
Or Santa Claus 4.
I know Tom Hanks is a good friend, but taking that to extreme, gotta love that guy. What a great race fan, born and bred in Indiana, and I love it that he's retired, but he's here at the racetrack all the time.
And I just love the quote, we can't lose anything here today. It's been an amazing season, 2 wins, fighting for the championship. The Steak and Shake Honda has been a performer this year. Graham's championship chances, how are they looking? Well, they're slipping a little at the moment, but we're not even halfway through this season finale. Is there any stopping Will Power? We're going to tell you, he needs to put in some pretty big laps to make a great strategy work. As you know, Sunday night is football night, and tonight we'll be in Oakland as Derek Carr and the Raiders host Larry Fitzgerald and the Cardinals. It's Sunday night football at 8 Eastern. It all leads up to the NFL kickoff Thursday, September 10th, only on NBC. We welcome you back to Championship Sunday. It's the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, San Francisco, about an hour south of where we are here at Sonoma Raceway. It has been a beautiful day. It's going to be the best day for whom? At the moment, it looks like Juan Pablo Montoya. As we take you back from the city all the way here to Sonoma Raceway, Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with you, along with Marty Snyder, Robin Miller, Kevin Lee, Katie Hargett, and Jan Beekes doing an excellent job on pit road. The final race for the Verizon IndyCar Series for 2015. And these two guys have enjoyed some good time up front. Will Power, Joseph Newgarden started on the front row and have run 1-2 for the majority of this race.
And super impressive that Newgarden holds that second position after all the drama on pit lane, which we understand that that's going to go to a post-race review, so we won't see any action in the race today in terms of a response to that as we look further back to Ryan Hunter-Reay, last week's winner. And what an amazing second half of the season. I mean, Hunter-Reay in the 28, just nowhere in the first half. They were struggling. He was frustrated. He's pulled it together like he always does, and they're at the top of their game again.
I talked to Ryan the other day after qualifying. I said, great job. I said, what's the difference? I said, what has changed? He goes, well, I said, is it confidence? And he said, really, no. It's just we've narrowed down the options of all the winglets and all the book of everything, of all these different options with the aero kit, and just figured out what I like and what works, and it's just simplified everything, and that's been the difference.
And right now, Ryan Hunter-Reay, though, is saving a bit of fuel because they told him, I believe, a lap and a half ago to pit in 8 laps. Well, that was, I believe, lap 29. So you need to get to lap 39 if you want to only make a stop after that. So I believe at the moment, Ryan Hunter-Reay recognizes he's a little bit short of that window, and that might be why he's dropping back into clutches here, having to save a little bit of fuel to get back in sequence.
Townsend, you mentioned a turnaround. Paul, you mentioned the turnaround for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's won 2 of the last 3 races. It's not just been an RHR turnaround, it's been an Andretti Autosport turnaround. The morale of that team was boosted earlier this year, most notably by the inclusion of the late Justin Wilson. Justin brought something different to that team on behalf of Honda and reignited them.
Well, and I think a big salute to Honda for recognizing the talent and the contribution that Justin Wilson can make to a race team. They knew that he brought so much to the table in terms of setup, experience, and execution, and it's just been great to see that pay off for not only Andretti but all of the Honda drivers.
So Ryan is racing well in 4th at the moment. He's about 3 seconds behind Scott Dixon, who's ahead of him in 3rd on the road. Working hard in Northern Cal on a beautiful day, the final day for IndyCar. Back at Sonoma Raceway, and the first yellow, the first caution of the day. It's due to an ailing Fuzzy's Chevrolet driven by Luca Filippi in this last race of the season. He's been communicating with the team, said there's issues with the throttle.
It's odd that they would throw a yellow because he's running. He's not stopped on track, so this is kind of a weird yellow, but obviously it's timely for a lot of guys. Really, for Kanaan, he's already pitted. It's going to be the option for him to stay out and assume the lead or come and get tires.
Tony pitted within the last 5 laps. You'll see him back there, that bright blue and red NTT data car for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. So that's where Tony is, and we're a little shy of what the optimal window would be for that next stop. We're just shy of it, Townsend.
Well, we'll see how many laps of yellow we get, because I think you're going to want to stop with about 37, 38 laps on the ticker. But if the yellow stays out long enough, you'll be okay. I think if green flag comes out around lap 38, you'll still be able to make it with one more stop.
My wish right now is I hope that everybody pits up until Servia, and Servia stays out and leads this race.
That would
Justin
be lovely.
Wilson's car. That would be a beautiful thing.
Well,
I think you might see it.
Besides this caution, Oriol's done a tremendous job. He's made up 8 positions from his starting spot, and he runs in 11th. So another full lap, and they're sending the race control, is sending the sweepers out there as well. Let's get to Jan Beekes.
And Townsend, you were talking about the strategy and what might happen, and yes, the number of yellows makes a big difference, but this will be a big push. Lap 35 at the moment, unless they did extended sweeping. Anyone who pits now, in my opinion, has 2 more stops coming, unless we know that yellow breeds yellow. But typically you want to come in here, as you said, on lap 39 if you want to be good to go to the end, but you gain an extra lap for every 2, I should say, under yellow. Pits are open. This will be good.
Who comes and who stays?
Busy pit lane. We saw just 3 cars in the pit lane, and it got confusing. So with the wide open pit here, it's there is potential for some wheel banging and some accidents in the pit lane.
Well, the harder it is to pass on the racetrack, and this is the most difficult track to pass on the schedule, the premium it puts, the more premium it puts on pit lane. So you're going to see a race on pit lane like we probably haven't seen in a while.
Incidentally, we should follow up about that stop earlier, and that altercation on pit lane between Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Simon Pagenaud. We did get word back from race control that the lane usage in pits is what they were in the pit lane is what they were looking at, and there will be a post-race review on the 22 of Simon Pagenaud. That's how the points sit now, but still a long way to go. Not yet halfway. That's coming up shortly. The most interesting thing is here, who stays out, who comes to pit road. You would expect the majority. Will we see the 25 Andretti Autosport Honda of Oriol Servia, Justin Wilson's old car, stay out to lead this race?
As much as the start of this race was a huge relief for Juan Pablo Montoya, this yellow is critical as Saavedra stays out, Andretti stays out, Servia stays out, Kanaan, Bourdais. Juan Montoya has to be very careful, just like on the start, on a full course stop. Let's watch.
And Townsend, what they didn't want is yellow flag pit stops because of their pit location around the bend, and he's going to have to go around Briscoe, who just came in. He's loose in the S's, so he wants a rear tire adjustment. Katie?
This is not what Scott Dixon wanted to see. He was hoping for a green to checkered race because he's the best at saving fuel, Jan.
For Graham Rahal, they've decided to not make any changes to the car. Oh, now they did decide. Oh, there's a problem. Wow. That was not what they wanted. That was some miscommunication for Graham Rahal. They were going to make a wing adjustment. Then they decided not to. Then the front left wheel gun looked like it was on too long. That was lucky he even got launched out of here.
What a stop from Target Chip Ganassi and Scott Dixon. Straight to the front. Leapfrogs Power and Newgarden to climb the hill first ahead of those guys. Now remember that Saavedra, Andretti, Servia, and many more stayed out. Check out this. Jan was just talking about in the Rahal pit.
Looked like something happened on the left front here. You can see the mechanic didn't quite get the nut spun off the threads. He pulled his gun off and the nut stayed there. Then he's trying to get front wing out. You called it earlier, Paul. He was loose, so they're trying to take front wing out and balance the car.
I tell you what, that was some kind of a stop by the Dixon crew. It'd be interesting to see if they took full load of fuel or short-filled it to get the lead.
So these are the cars and drivers who did not stop. Sebastian Saavedra enjoying a really promising day in the AFS Ganassi car. The open wheel action continues here on your home of motorsport. Next weekend, the Formula One World Championship returns, and it is the Italian Grand Prix from the legendary Monza. You can see the race 7:30 a.m. Eastern next Sunday right here on NBCSN. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Still under caution here at Sonoma Raceway, the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, the 16th and final round, the championship determining round. And that last round of stops, boy, what a stop from Target Chip Ganassi, and Katie's there.
It was a great one for Scott Dixon, who jumped several positions, and on his stand is Mike Hull. Mike, what went so well during that stop that allowed Scott to jump so many positions?
Well, our Target guys just did a great job like they always do. You know, they practice hour and hour to do what you guys just saw on TV for 6 seconds. We think this is a three-stop race, and we always tell the guys, in this case, we said to them, you know what, today we just need 18 seconds of your time. So they just gave us the first 6.
All right, thanks, Mike. Kevin?
Well, the reason for this caution is because Luca Filippi was slowing to a stop. It's a throttle sensor problem. They're still trying to address it. They're hoping they can get him back out on track. Very frustrating because he had been moving up. He said, I wasn't hoping for any kind of a strange caution race. I think a straightforward race, we have the pace to move forward. And he moved from 13th to 9th before the problems, Marty.
Let's talk to Tim Cindric, who told us Will Power he's coming down pit road. We'll pit here, see what happens. Do you unleash him, or do you make him in fuel save mode now?
I'd love to think we can pass the guys in front of us. They've been out there for 14 or 15 laps, but I'm not sure. We're kind of stuck here with this lap because you really can't do it in one more stop from here, and it's real difficult to pass here. So it's unfortunate that yellow happened when it did. I think it caught all the championship leaders out, and honestly, it didn't look like there was a reason for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting to see those fast guys starting mid-pack. This is going to be fun to watch, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
It'll be really good. If they decide they can't make it on one more stop, I think it's close, but you'd have to save a ton of fuel. That means they're going to have to go like crazy to get through the field.
Yes, they will.
I think the thing you're going to see here is that if this goes 6, 8, 10 laps and they get another yellow, effectively everybody would pit again, and it would just basically sort the field out to where it is now. And let's hope that Servia and Justin Wilson's car could maybe get a podium.
1-1-1.
It would reset it, ostensibly ready to go back to racing. Let's do it here in the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Sebastian Saavedra leads the field to green. Marco Andretti thought about it. He thinks about it again. Kanaan up the inside of Servia. It's Saavedra up the hill for the first. Andretti, Kanaan, Servia, Bourdais.
Look at Graham Rahal, rodeo ride. I think he passed one, maybe two cars around the outside.
Looked at this on the start. It looked like Montoya got into the back of somebody at the hairpin and hit somebody. So I don't know if Montoya got some damage to his front wing, but these guys are swarming all over James Jakes.
It wasn't Rahal. Oh boy.
It's Power. That's Will Power.
Power's off.
Keep it running, bud. Keep it running.
Something broken on the car laying in the middle of the track. So he's got a broken front wing.
Looks like he might have had a little help there from behind, losing it on the exit like that.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you get back in these lapped cars, slower cars, you get impatient. You want to get by them, and he might have got caught out and touched wheels with somebody and spun it around.
And as Power gets going,
Bump started it rolling down the hill, so he was stalled. Lucky that he was able to roll down the hill and start it. But he's got damage on the back there. Might have got tagged by somebody and spun around.
So while we went back to green briefly for about a quarter of a lap, back under yellow here, and Will Power tries to clean things up on his tyres. Luca Filippi, you can see, is back out on track as well. What happened to the reigning series champion? On board with Juan Pablo Montoya. Don't tell me the teammates collide. Surely not. Oh, they do.
What did I tell you?
Oh,
it looked
boy.
like he had damage to that bumper and got tagged and spun around.
well, I think Montoya didn't know what Power was going to do there, so he sort of left the door open with Filippi there, then just came across the bow.
The two is, I think it might have damaged Montoya's front wing as well, because a piece of the wing flew off here. As you see right here, boom, see the front wing? Broke the front wing, so that's a problem for Montoya as well.
It's all of a sudden gotten very interesting.
Teammates, championship contenders collide. Look up ahead. The view from Graham Rahal's car. Bang.
So that was actually Newgarden ahead with Power behind. They both sort of outbraked themselves and slid wide of the apex. Montoya, as you would expect, just went for it. And we saw this earlier, right? When, who was it that had to pit with the front wing damage? Castroneves. It was that exact same piece broken in the exact same way, and they had to pit for a new front wing.
Now Scott Dixon was pretty racy as well on that restart, looking to capitalize. You heard Mike Hull say, actually, pardon me, it was Tim Cindric say we hope to pass those positions. Let's ride on board with Dixon. Turn it up and have a listen.
I think he's going to go to the outside here. I called it as Rahal, but it was the other red car, Dixon here. Can't quite do it. Then watch what happens at the next set of corners. Sets up wide there so he can cut down low.
James Jakes up ahead, tries to dive to the inside of Jakes. Can he force him wide? He can't. And right behind this camera view is where it all went wrong for the two Penske men. Oh boy, as we broach the halfway mark of the season finale, did you think that would happen? Teammates and title contenders colliding.
Again, we've seen this time and time again as we see Castroneves come to the pits. Yellows breed yellows. These guys will get anxious, and the longer this plays out, these guys stay out, and we see Montoya come for a wing. So this is really going to be costly for Montoya.
Rahal stays out. RHR as well. So there's Castroneves. This is his third time to pit road. Kev?
Montoya was running 14th, and he said, I'm going to lose about 8 spots, aren't I? They're going to do fuel, and they're going to change the front wing as well. Juan Pablo Montoya, everything is shaking up right here with this, Marty.
And And his teammate Will Power coming down pit road. He has not said a word on the radio other than to confirm that he was coming down pit road. And you see him coming very slowly down pit road to his team. They're going to put on sticker blacks here. No real damage to the car that they're worried about. They did have a front wing out in case he got damaged when he went through that grass. Quick stop for these guys. But again, a lot of track position to make up. It's going to make things very interesting.
Is something as innocuous as that slight collision going to cost a championship? We will find out. Is that the turning point, pardon the pun, of this race? We'll be back.